Hi everyone! Welcome back to Ecom channel. I am glad to have you all once again to another video lesson. Today's lesson will be about the possible or most common questions your teachers or the panelists might ask you during the research proposal, also known as research plan oral defense. So what are you waiting for? Hop in and learn with Teacher Claire. In today's video lesson, I will enumerate 10 most common questions asked during the oral defense of research plan and provide example answer for each of them. Take note that I will focus on the research study entitled Perceptions of Abuse Grade 11 Students in Using Online Game Applications for Class Performance Tasks in Answering the Sample Questions. Let's start with number 1. In a few sentences, tell us what your research study will be about. Looking at the sample answer, this question seems very simple, but most of the time, students get a little nervous with the first question asked, no matter how simple it may be. To conquer your nervousness then, you just have to be very adept or knowledgeable about the most essential aspects of your study as you mentioned in your research plan, like its focus, aims, benefits, and outcome. Just choose one among them or say them all if you wish to. The next question is, what are your research variables? We have talked about research variables many times already. Here, you will need to convince the panel members or your teacher that you know what you are talking about. You need to explain your independent and dependent variables to convince and make them see that you are knowledgeable about every detail of your study. Obviously, your variables are present in your project title as shown in that example answer to this second question. You need to identify these variables and know their descriptions as well to ace your defense. Moving on to the next, the question is, what are your research questions? This shouldn't pose any challenge at all because your research questions are clearly stated in your study plan or in your research plan already. Moreover, in answering the third question, you should also watch out for these other questions. How did your research questions emerge? Why are your research questions interesting or important? And here are the sample answers to these questions. Now, for the next commonly asked question, here it is. What has been your motivation for this study? Be careful in answering this question. You shouldn't really just say that you will work on the study because it is a class requirement, or it is relevant to your senior high school track, or you need a grade to pass the subject. This question is connected to the research problem. You should convince the panel or your teacher that you will have the research study because you had observed the existence of a problem, a phenomenon, or a situation which you want to help find a solution for the benefit of the many. The other ways of asking this question are, what is the research problem? Why did you decide to undertake this specific research? And another question is, why is the problem worth the time? Bear in mind that not all researchable problems are worth studying about. You should ensure that the problem you chose to solve is something that would benefit the many. See to it that you do answer this question just like in the example given. The next question would be, what is the significance of the study? In answering this question, you should explain how your study will help and will benefit others like the government, people, society, and more, or simply how it will help different students who may wish to conduct research on the same topic and how organizations and the general public will profit from your study. Ace this question by learning from the example provided. Another way of asking you about the significance of the study is, in what ways does your research project contribute to knowledge? Definitely, this question is similar to your significance of the study. You should talk about how your research is aimed at addressing a problem that was not addressed by previous researchers in your field of study. You should also briefly state how your project will advance understanding in your research field. Be knowledgeable in answering this question by looking at the example response. Talking about the findings of the study, the question may be, what could be the principal findings of this research project? In this question, you should briefly explain the outcome of your study. It is very important at this stage that you link the outcome of your study to your research questions to avoid going out of focus. Learn from the example provided. Next in line is, justify your research methodology. Are they enough to give you the data you needed in the study? At this point, your ability to justify your sample size and technique will be highly rewarded. You have to state from where you are going to get the data you needed, just like in the given example answer. Here are the other way of asking about the methodology you employ in your study. What source of data was employed for the study? What is your measurement instrument? And here is another common question you need to be ready with. What is the practicability of your research? In responding to this question, relate your study to current trends in your environment, school, economy, government, church, and many more. Use of relevant examples and illustrations will definitely score you good point here. And the last among the many questions would be, what will you do to make your research study reliable? To answer this question, simply tell your audience or your panel of assessors that the threats to research reliability, which are participants' error, participants' bias, research error, and researcher bias, did not occur during the research. Or you can simply say that you made sure the threats were reduced to the barest minimum. You may do it the way it was done in the sample answer. Meanwhile, I would like to emphasize that these questions are just some of the possible questions you might encounter during a research project, a research proposal, or a research plan oral defense. There are a lot of questions your panel and teachers may ask you during the defense, but I have high hope that this video lesson helped you to review and be ready for your defense. Have a great day, everyone! Thank you for watching another video lesson from Ecom channel. Again, this is Teacher Claire reminding you to always wear a happy heart. God bless us all.